I'm here today as a humble student, hoping to learn from the wonderful people who are going to talk to us today. And to open is Dr. Kumkum Srivastava. Now, many of you may already know her. She was born and brought up in Old Delhi in the midst of a composite culture. And she had most of her schooling in Karachi, in Pakistan, where her father was in Indian Airlines. And there she learned not only Urdu and Persian, but also imbibed the cultural ethos of Islam. Completing her schooling from Presentation Convent in Delhi, she graduated and post-graduated in history, specializing in medieval Indian history from Indraprastha College for Women in the University of Delhi. For her M.Phil and Ph.D., both from the University of Delhi, she read social anthropology and carried out an historical and empirical study of the Sufi Order of the Qalandars, publishing several articles on these themes besides her much-acclaimed book, The Wandering Sufis, which I'm very happy to say that I hope to start reading from today. And this was published by Aryan International in collaboration with the Indira Gandhi Rashtriya Manav Sangrahalaya, Bhopal. One of her articles on the Qalandars was recently published in A Leaf Turns Yellow, a book that Muzaffar Ali has edited. She is presently an associate professor at Janki Devi Memorial College of the University of Delhi. And besides the study of Islam and Sufism, she has worked on the history of Urdu and Urdu poetry, medieval Delhi, Punjabi folk songs, Muslim women, and Mughal architecture. So you can see she has a huge field of interests. She has carried out many heritage walks in and around Delhi and has written and lectured on these topics extensively. I would now like to call on Dr. Kumkum Srivastava to come to the podium.
Good morning. A very, very warm welcome to all of you here. I was expecting a lot of young people and a lot more women, being International Women's Day today. Anyway, to all the women present here and to the men, happy Women's Day. I think we thought we'd outnumber the men here today, but anyway. I work extensively on the Qalandars. I worked on Matka Pir in Delhi and also Abu Ali Shah Qalandar of Panipat. And today, when we hear everywhere around us, whether it is this morning in FM 91.1, Mika Singh blaring out this number, Honey Singh rapping on this number, each and all the stereos, the cars passing by playing this song. I've heard it so very often, the Mast Qalandar number. The children are singing it. I've heard it in ladies' Sangeet programs. Very recently, on the 23rd of February, I saw this being performed at a kirtan, which was held just before the wedding. There was a kirtan, and all the ladies requested Sai Bhavani, the singer, to sing Damadam Mast Qalandar. After having heard those performances, they also handed out a booklet on the Punjabi Sangeet Day, 23rd February. They handed out this booklet, and I was going through it. They said it'll make it easier for everyone to follow this particular number, because everybody knows Punjabi folk songs. Latte Di Chadar and what else. But they might not know Damadam Mast Qalandar. Anyway, I went through this little booklet and I found on page 25. It had so many mistakes. In fact, Sakhi Shahbaz Qalandar was written as Satish Shah Qalandar. I thought Satish Shah would be immensely pleased with that. He's one of our very popular comic actors and characters in films. So, and, well, the rest of them was absolutely, in fact, you can see my underlining. And so here, I went around, asking them, do you know what you're singing? And they said, no, we prepared this, so please, would you come later and talk to us? They were it was a Sufi theme night. There were these young boys and girls all prepared to dance. And they did a performance on this number. I asked them what they were. This was my brother's son's wedding. So naturally, I was very much involved, and I said, you didn't even bother to ask me. I worked on the Qalandars all my life. You didn't bother to ask me what it meant and what you were performing and the words that you were singing. So they said, yeah, we know who the Qalandars are. They go around with performing bears and monkeys. Madari. They go around with, conjuring tricks and all that. I got a real shock of my life because I thought, after having heard the Mast Qalandar song, the mast, or singing or hearing the very famous popular, song from a very recent movie, Highway, or even the movie Jawani, Ye Jawani Hai Diwani with Ranveer Singh and Rekha Bharadwaj and Tochi Raina singing Tu To Hai Ik Mast Qalandar, Tez Hawa Ka Ik Bavandar, Kya Hai Tere Man Ke Andar, O Fakira Manja. That popular song. All these, since I teach at the University of Delhi, I have had the opportunity of attending all these cultural festivals of various colleges. My husband was principal Hindu college, so we had the Mecca festival and we had, all these singers coming. And each one, whether it was recently Arijit Singh or it was Harshdeep Kaur, adding a ting-a-ling-a-ling-a-ling to Ru Katdi Fira, that song from Rockstar. They really had no idea. They didn't even know that the Qawwalis, were part of the Mehfil-e-Sama, of the Sufis. They had absolutely no idea. And how it started, where these Qawwalis started from, who are the icons of the particular, why are the Qalandars mast? Why Ali has the pehla number? Damadam mast Qalandar, Ali dam dam de andar, Ali da pehla number, Sakhi Shahbaz Qalandar, and then Jhule Lalan, Sehvan da, Sindari da, Sakhi Shahbaz Qalandar. Now, Sehvan is a place where Shahbaz Qalandar's shrine is. He came from a place, in Central Asia. His full name was Lal Usman Marwandi. He came from a place called Marwand in Central Asia. And there were so many interpolations, so many additions to this particular most popular Qawwali of all times. Whether it is Nusrat Fateh Ali Khan taking it to another level, or the Wadali brothers or Runa Laila singing it, or Abida Parveen, and now recently Mika Singh with Times of Music, under the Times of Music label, with rapper Yo-Yo Honey Singh. One side, Mika Singh is singing the original. It was actually, they say that Amir Khusro had written it first, and then the Persian version was written by Bu Ali Shah Qalandar. And then the Punjabi version by some editions were made by Bulle Shah. And in 1955, I was told that there was a film, called Mast Qalandar. I went to the archives and I picked up this movie. I thought, I'll get an insight into who the Mast Qalandars were. Lyricist Naqsh Lailpuri, music director Hansraj Behel. I was disappointed. It was about a madari. It was about those going around with, conjuring tricks, jugglers and all that. And then I went and looked up at the Anthropological Survey of India, the census reports, and I found that they had also mentioned the Qalandars as a community, as a tribe of nomads, as a community which went around with performing bears and monkeys, and they had their own argot and their own justice system. And H.A. Rose in 1919 had written that they made excellent pipe bowls. That was the only information I got. And then I, worked around it. Why are these people called Qalandars? And even now, even till yesterday, when I visited the dentist, I was reading my book, preparing for the lecture for this day, and he asked me, he said, why do you want to go around, working on the Madaris and the Qalandars? Why do you want to work on them? I said, do you have no idea? He said, no. So today I thought I'll give you an insight into who the Qalandars are, why this particular Qawwali has become so very popular, and what is the popular idiom behind who the Qalandars are. And today, since I have taken the place of somebody else, today I was supposed to lecture tomorrow, but I will just today concentrate on the etymology of the Qalandars and the conceptual philosophy behind the this litany in praise of Lal Shahbaz. I'll go into the history, the etymology of the word Qalandar, then the history of the Qalandar Silsila, and the kind of Qawwalis that were performed there. Who are they? They have been so very much popularized by Hindi cinema, by the theatres, by, as I said, all the Qawwals, and the most popular term after Sufism, as you know, is Qalandar. No Sufi evening, no Qawwali repertoire of the Qawwals always contains this litany, Damadam Mast Qalandar. And so the central imagery of Sufi music and songs, the Qalandar, is actually an idiom, a term that is used for somebody who is beqaid, benawa, beparwah, who is antinomian. In fact, they are called unruly friends of God, the rebellious Sufis who don't follow any social conventionalities, who don't follow any norms, who don't follow any compulsory Muslim rituals, whether it be namaz or roza or even hajj. But the most identifying mark of a Qalandar is that he is mast. All the young people sitting here, mast doesn't mean somebody who is very hot and sexy. Or like in Bombay, everything that you eat or drink or do is, if you like it, it is mast. So this is not, this masti, this ecstasy, it is rapture, it is delight, it is unmindfulness. It is a state of being one with him. That is what the Qalandars feel about masti anyway. So he's not in his senses, he's a madman. He's unaware. He's also a renouncer, a faqir, indifferent to the world and its normative order. But in the Arabian Nights, the Qalandars are butt of jokes because initially they moved around with shaven heads, beardless, no eyebrows. It was a practice called char abru safaya. And they went around. Richard Eaton in his book Sufis of Bijapur says that he saw them going around naked. They were begging monks, that they were in the state of ecstasy because they imbibed barbiturates, like, bhang, ganja, charas, that they smoke opium and that they drank wine. And then, but besides all that, Simon Digby has worked extensively on the Qalandars of the 13th, 14th century. And very recently, as recent as 1998, Claudia Libeskind worked on the contemporary Qalandars, silsilas of Kakori, UP. And Ewing has worked in 1979, very brief mention of the Qalandars. But nobody has really worked extensively on them in detail. So that's why I decided to pick this topic up. Since they are periginating, since they are wandering, since they don't have any settled abode, they don't have any settled khanqa, so there, wherever they stop, wherever they, whenever the night comes, they stay there. They go around with a kashkul, a begging bowl, with an ustara, because, in case they need to shave their hair. And then joval those to sew, it's a sewing needle, to sew patches on their robe. And their whole philosophy is, दुनिया में हूँ, दुनिया का तलबगार नहीं हूँ, बाजार से गुजरा हूँ, तलबगार नहीं हूँ, खरीदार नहीं हूँ, sorry. दुनिया में हूँ, दुनिया का तलबगार नहीं हूँ, बाजार से गुजरा हूँ, खरीदार नहीं हूँ. So this is actually their philosophy. But they are still a part of the Sufi system. Now, Sufis have been divided into two kinds, Beshar and Bashar. Beshar are those who are beyond the law, because Shariat being the law, the Bashar are those who follow the law, and Beshar are those who don't. And so these are the Sufis who are, the Qalandars are those Sufis who are antinomial, who are beyond the law. And also, in terms of their dress, in terms of their behavior, in terms of their whole demeanor, in terms of their philosophy also, and they follow a different pattern. Whereas the Beshar Sufis, silsilas are, the Bashar Sufi silsilas are individuated, based on the founder, Qadri, Shattari, Firdausi, Naqshbandi, Sohrawardi. These silsilas were founded, they have a founder, and all the murids, the Pir or the Sheikh as its head, and even, the Chishti silsila, they have started with a founder, one person. They're individuated. But the Qalandars are, they used to earlier travel in groups. The like-minded people for whom ishq, the divine love for the divine beloved, was the essence, they all got together. And in fact, Bruce Lawrence, in his definition of Qawwali, has said that Qawwali is a dialogue between a human lover and a divine beloved. And this is exactly what the Qalandars followed. And there, where did this word Qalandar come from? Was it from the Spanish word qala, which means pure gold? Or from the Greek kalator, the truth workers? Or from kalantar, which means large or great? Or in Persian, it also means thief. It also means ugly. It also means ungainly. So was it because they were uncouth and, ugly looking that this name was given to them? Or did it come from the Syriac Ebrani name for God? Whatever the etymology be, whatever its meaning be, but now it is very much linked with three concepts of their philosophy. Love of the Creator, love of his fellow beings, but no love for material things. And he's intoxicated, as they say, by the tranquility of the heart. And that is why they're so much involved in loving God that they forget to love themselves. And now, this is as I had mentioned, that this word was encountered for the first time in a Rubai by Tahir Urian, where he says, I am a wanderer whose name is Qalandar. I have neither home nor goods, nor kitchen, no country, no lair. When day comes, I wander around the world aimless. When night falls, I lay my head on a brick with a stone as my pillow. Now here, I'll come to the second part of the word. Beside Qalandar, we have mast, as I said. Mast means full of ecstasy, totally involved in a frenzy, and this ecstasy is created by music. It is created by the reciting or singing the words of the Quran or litany in praise of the Sufi, the saint, their leader. It could be Lal Shahbaz Qalandar, it could be Bu Ali Shah Qalandar, it could be Abu Bakr Tusi, where they say Baba ke dar jo mangna hai mang lenge Baba ke dar se. And at Bu Ali Shah Qalandar's Dargah also, there are first, they begin with singing praises of God. You have the Naat, or you have the Hamd, and then you have the Munakabat, and then you have the so it starts with, and this clapping of hands. Nizamuddin Aulia had once said that this clapping of hands releases him, from a lot of negative energy, creates a positive energy. And but he also mentioned that he had been to Abu Bakr Tusi Matka Pir's shrine. At one of the, not the shrine at that time, but the Takia. And there was a M.Phil Sama going on, and he was not enjoying himself. So he said, there is something missing. And he came back and spoke to his murids, and he said, I found something missing. So I must tell you that whenever there is a Qawwali performance or a musical performance or a Sama, three things should be taken into consideration. First of all, who is the listener? Akhwan. They must share the same body of thoughts. They must be ham khayal. Secondly, and then with this he said they should give their full attention to the words of the song or the hamd or the naat. They should give full tawajjuh to what is being said. Secondly, you should see where it is being sung. Where is the Qawwali being sung? The makan. Now, makan doesn't mean house, it means a place. He said the site of the Qawwali should not be close to the place of residence. It should not be close to the mosque. There should be no distractions. The third requirement of a Qawwali at a Sufi person's Khanqah, the third thing that you should consider is the zaman, or the time, the zaman. It should not be dinner time. Otherwise, if you're hungry, then you will not be able to either sing or listen to the Qawwali. It should not be prayer time, because the call of prayer will naturally take you away. Or if you continue to stay there, then you will be missing one of the obligatory prayer times. And thirdly, it should not be too late. It should not be nearing bedtime. Otherwise, you will all be yawning and not pay much attention. So these are the three and conditions for a qawwali performance. So that means that at Abu Bakr Tusi's takya, at his place, these three things might not have been followed. Because for them, any time was song time, any time was dance time. And in fact, the Al-Ghazali had said that it is not necessary to just sit and sing in a mehfil sama. You can also dance, whirl, and jump. So the Mevleviya order of Jalaluddin Rumi followed, and Shams Tabriz followed this practice of whirl, dance, and jump. And therefore they are called whirling dervishes or dancing dervishes. But surprisingly, I don't know, you might have seen so many performances. Jodha Akbar film, Khwaja Mere Khwaja, or even Mera Ishq Sufiana. I don't know, that particular Ishq was not Sufiana, let me tell you. Vidya Balan in her fattest best. And of course, they had these girls and men, even in Khwaja Mere Khwaja, wearing those tall white caps, a white long frock, something similar to what Manjari is wearing today in black. But the whole idea behind wearing this long khirqa or robe, it was why white. In Egypt, the Rifais, one of the Qalandars silsilas, akin to the Qalandars silsilas, the Rifais wear this white, they call it tenure, which means shroud, kafan. So they've given up on the world, they've already dead to the world. The concept of fana. So the Qalandars philosophy is all about fana, fana-e fillah, dying to one's self, and baqa'i billah, but living with God. So fana, the concept of fana is not what Amir Khan told Kajol, ki main tumhare ishq mein fana ho jaunga. So it's not dying for your beloved, it's dying to yourself. Your basic instincts are annihilated. Your basic lower instincts, those are annihilated. Everything, when you are not there, when the ego, the self is completely destroyed, then what remains? Baka. What is bakaya? He says, even let that baka, let what remains be with God. You must have all heard, lakdi jal koila bhai, koila jal bhayo rak. But when you burn the rak, what happens? Rak. You keep burning the rak and still something remains. So, oh Lord, says the Qalandar, let that bakaya, let that baka, that whatever remnants, the residue, even that, let that remain with God. That is what Visal is all about, union. And this state of ecstasy, this vajd, will lead to, you will love. So it will begin from ishq majazi. If you don't love a human being, that is the first stage of loving God. Rabia Basri, who's supposed to be one of the Dhai Qalandar, the first one being Abu Ali Shah Qalandar, then Lal Shahbaz Qalandar, and the women equivalent. I'm sorry to say, today being a Women's Day, half. Rabia Basri was regarded as half a Qalandar, being a woman. So Rabia says that I love God so much that I have no time to hate Satan. And this is the essence of the Qalandar. That is why they are in this state of masti, in this state of ecstasy. So we come now to Damadam. Now what is the meaning of Damadam? Damadam is not, Manjari will tell you, anything to do with any musical, sound or something. Dam. Dam means breath. Dam means life. And one of the sister silsilas, you can say, tariqas of the Qalandars was the Madari, founded by Bahauddin Madar, Shah Madar, Burhanuddin Shah Madar. And it is believed that, and the founder of the Qalandari Silsila, Aziz Makki, to whom Ali, Prophet Muhammad had, it is said, was also a kind of a Qalandar, and this philosophy handed over to his son-in-law Ali, and then passed on. The person who brought it to India was, besides many other names, but Aziz Makki. It is said that he's not dead. He lies in a state of habs-e-dam, breath control. And he is buried in a, Sardaba. Sardaba is a very kacha grave, kabr, not tarmacked over or lined over bricks. And he is, this state of breath control, pas anfas, is also a practice followed by Moinuddin Chishti. He used to carry on Chillai Makus, upside down in a bell. And also by Nizamuddin Auliya, Sheikh Nasiruddin Chiragh, Dehelvi. And so this is the whole idea of, they followed it from Aziz Makki or even Shah Madar. A legend goes that Prophet Muhammad, seated on his horse, Burak, flew Miraj, and he went off to the gate, landed at the gates of Jannat. But he could not enter because the gates of Jannat, the eye was just as small as the eye of a needle. And he was perplexed, he was worried, he was, disturbed. So the angel Gabriel came to him, Jibreel, and said, "What is the matter?" He said, "I cannot enter the gate is so small." So he said, "That's no problem. Why don't you take the name of Shah Madar and call out Dam Madar, Dam Madar, Dam," and you will see that just by taking his name on the breath of Mother or on the life of Mother, the gate will open. And so it happened. So any time, so if you'll find that these Madaris, these followers of Shah Madar, they walk on fire. One of the rituals at their urs is walking on fire, even at Lal Shahbaz Qalandar's Dargah. And they, all of them shout out loudly, Shah Madar, Dam Madar, Dam Madar, Dam Madar. And even the porters, when they're lifting their load, will either say, Ya Ali, Madad Ali, or they will say, Ya Madar, Madad, Madar. So the idea of, controlling the breath probably, is one of the ritual exercises which they perform and they remember. So Damadam Mast Qalandar, Ali Dam Dam de Andar, Ali da Pehla number. Ali is supposed to be the first Imam, the first Sufi, and so that is why, the first Qalandar also because of his philosophy, and the Qalandars regard him. In fact, Bu Ali Shah Qalandar said his name was Sharfuddin Shah, but the term, Bu Ali, which means the fragrance of Ali, he says, was given. The legend goes that it was given to him by Ali. That he was doing his austerities, practicing his austerities, standing in the middle of the river. The fish had eaten most of his flesh. And suddenly he saw an old man, and this old man pulled him out of the river. So he said, "Why have you pulled me out? Why have you saved me? I'm not going to come out of the river till I meet Ali." So he said, "Well, I am Ali." And it is said that, he took out some saliva from his tongue and placed it on in the mouth, on the tongue of Sharfuddin. And from then on, he came to be known as B-double-O, Bu, Khushbu, or Bu, smell or scent or fragrance of Ali. So this whole Ya Ali, you'll find that every Sufi, whether it is a Qawwali or a song or something, will have Ya Ali, Madad Ali, Maula Ali, even as I said, the recent Rahman song, and they all have Ali in their songs. So this is because Ali is supposed to be the first Sufi, the first Qalandar, the first Imam also, and also the first, and the founder, you can say, of Sufism. This is what it is believed. Now we come to Lal Shahbaz Qalandar. Lal, because it is said that he wore a red palash or dress, which was red in color. Also because it is said that copying Ibrahim, it is said that Abraham had once sat in a pot, which was placed on a fire, and he turned a red color. And here it is said that Lal Shahbaz also did the same. But his name was Usman Marwandi. Where did he get this name Shahbaz from? It is said that once he rescued, because of his high ideals and high philosophy, and he had reached a certain level. So Bahauddin Zakaria, once he had rescued an old man from the stake, an old religious mendicant from the stake. So Bahauddin Zakaria, it is said, another very famous Sufi saint of Multan, said that he gave him this name, Shahbaz. It's a falcon, so Shahbaz. And if you, Neville sir has visited Pakistan many times, and I used to see this, the picture of Lal Shahbaz. A little, and this Damada Mast Qalandar written there, and below that Shahbaz Kare Parvaz Jane Raz Dilande. So you'll have trucks, beautifully decorated, and with these, and you'll have, calendars and posters, and behind, like we have a Sher written behind the autos. You have in Pakistan, I've found trucks beautifully decorated, and with this image of Shahbaz flying, falcon, and knowing Raz Dilande. So I've just come to the last. Sorry, I'm taking so much of your time, but you have to know, all the words that you're singing and that you're hearing. So we've started with Damadam Mast Qalandar. Ali Dam Dam de Andar, Ali da Pehla number, Sakhi means one who has a large heart. Sakhi Shahbaz Qalandar. So the word meaning of Shahbaz also is clear. Jhule Lalan. Now where does the Sindh saint, Sindhi, icon, Sindhi saint Jhule Lal come into the picture? Where? National integration, sir, or fusion. A composite culture. Sindh was ruled by Miraksha. The Muslims had come in, and there were so many Hindus there, and they were asked to convert. They didn't want to. They were asked to leave. How could they leave en masse? Their whole livelihood, their whole life had been spent there. So some of them, went they were sitting beside the river Sindhu, Indus, and prayed and prayed and prayed for some miracle to happen, because Miraksha had given them very little time. And while they were praying, they saw a boat coming, and there was a kind of a prediction. Somebody came to them and predicted that there would be a child born who would, take away all their sorrows and all that, and who would deal with this problem, who would help them sort out this problem. So they went to the Sultan, and the Sultan said, okay, I'll wait. If you say so, let's see, how will the child be born? So it did happen that this child was born. And his name, they call him Udairo Lal also, or Darya Shah. But Jhule Lal, it is believed that when he was born, they placed him in the Jhula, and the Jhula started moving on its own. So this little child came to be known as Jhule Lal. Lal means a child, the Lal, the son of. And then he, the Sultan was actually, struck by this miracle, the Karamat. And he said, okay, let's wait. Let's see what he does. But it so happened that he grew up and he finally led the Sufis and formed a separate, they formed a separate identity. And so this is, so he also became an icon of the Sindh. So Jhule Lal is therefore also remembered, not as part of the Qalandar litany or Qalandar, but as a part of the whole area of Sindh. He was a saint of Sindh. And since Lal Shahbaz is also, so this started off, initially by the local people so there are a lot of interpolations, a lot of additions, a lot of subtractions to this particular Qawwali, which has become the item number of every Qawwali performance. You cannot have a Qawwali performance unless you recite this one, and you're asked to. So they keep adding. Initially it could be Uchra Roza Pira Tera Het Vage Darya. And in Multani as well as in Sindhi language, Vala means again. When you repeat something, you say Val, again. Val, what happened? Next, what happened? So you say Vala or Val. So, Jhule Vala, Sindhari da, Sehvan is the place, Sindhari is Sindh. Phir Hind Sindh Pira Teri Naubat Baji. In Mika Singh sings Jhanana Teri Naubat Baji. Some other Qawwals sing Dar Pe Pira Teri Naubat Baji. Okay, fine. Now, Char Charag Tere Balan Hamesha, Panjwa Me Balan Ayo Vala. If you see the gender, this thing, it is a woman, or her. It's like the lover and the divine beloved. So it's this time it is the woman, it's in the feminine voice. Panjwa Me Balan Aya Vala. Aya is, if those who are here, Punjabis, you know that agar aadmi bolega to aya bolega, na? And if the woman speaks, it's ai. So it's aya vala Jhule Lalan. Now, each, the murids or the people who are singing, they add, how will their saint become popular? You have to talk about the karamat. You have to talk about the miracles that he is able to perform. So, this is added. Mava nu pira bachade denda, pehna nu denda e veer mila. So, what can this saint is so miraculous. I mean, he has so much karamati. He has so much power, to appeal that attraction that people have towards that, because he's able to perform miracles. And what are the miracles that he performs? He gives children to the childless. Bu Ali Shah Qalandar is known for that. He gives children to the childless. The lost, makes the lost mother, brother and sister come together. And so this part is also added. And many, many more, are added according to where it is being sung. If it is being sung at the shrine of Bu Ali Shah Qalandar, you have many more, कि जो मांगो मिलेगा पीर बाबा से तो झोली फैला के तो देख. So they add that along. And today I end with another edition. Mika Singh is singing Damadam Mast Qalandar, and Honey Singh is saying Allahu, Allahu, and then मेरा दिन भी तू मेरी रात भी तू मेरी रूह भी तू मेरी ज़ात भी तू मेरा काफिर तू मेरा काजी तू मेरा रुसिया तू मेरा राजी तू. And I had just picked it up right now, when I was coming in the car in the morning. And so you have, these additions, the rap now being added to this particular Qawwali, which has become, as I said, the icon song or the item song of the Qalandars and the Qawwals all around the world. Thank you.
Thank you very, very much, Kumkum.